Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Great.
I'm just gonna say this. Tracy E., are you still in the warm weather?
Yes.
Yeah. Look at that smile.
We're still
Okay, for the
jealous.
audience, just so you know, she moved inside. If you watched our previous ones, she moved inside. This is not her home. She's still in the sun. We here, Tracy G and I were in the chill. I'm actually not going to be here for much longer in the cold. When I say much longer, I say another year. So we'll be making the transition down south for the winter months. And so hence has become decluttering headquarters
Mm.
in my household. So Peter and I had actually been in this home 7 years. We rent. We don't own this home. We rent. And it's a bigger home and we filled it really good. Really good. And so last year I started decluttering. And if you watch the previous episode, we talked about dress your age, and I was talking about having like a style or a uniform. And I literally had three closets full of clothes.
Wow.
And two of them were walk-ins.
Wow.
Yeah. And
impressive.
oh yeah. Well, I also used to have to get dressed up for work or dressed up for different events and different things. And little by little, if I put it on and I don't find joy, it doesn't fit right. It's if I get that, well, when I lose that extra 10 pounds and I can't fit into, I now have that. I have a bag in my closet and it gets donated. And I'm down to one closet. Not three.
Nice.
I have one and it has all my clothes. When I mean all my clothes, all seasons in it. But I'm also the thought of decluttering. And I find when I am filled with anxiety or my mind is racing, if I spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes in a part of a room that causes me anxiety and start to declutter it, I find my mind starts to calm down and the anxiety starts to subside to a certain point. Have you guys ever experienced that?
That my mind's just calm.
No, that you start decluttering and it helps declutter your mind.
Yes. I my husband likes things out, like even in the kitchen, like appliances out. I can't stand that. I like everything off the counters because I like to walk in and just not have my brain have to take in stuff. So I like to keep my office kind of clean. I like to not clean, like of course I want it clean, but not a bunch
Clutter.
of stuff on it. And I try to do that in all areas of our house. And we're actually going through a decluttering right now where we're like, because we're before the new year, like to kind of get rid of the old and or not worn or whatever, and just start pushing it out so that it's not, like one day we're going to have to sell this house because we're going to move on. And I don't want to leave that to my kids to have to go through all our crap. Right?
Yeah. Having been in that situation, being an executor to a few people, I know exactly what that is like.
Yes,
which
I've
has
done
caused,
that.
yeah. And it has caused my husband and I to also do that same thing, to like seriously go, okay, we got to start going through this and getting rid of it. It's amazing to me though, that as almost as quickly as you get rid of stuff, there's stuff that comes in and replaces it, like it manufactures itself. It's like, how does this happen? Like I just got rid of 4 coats. How's there 4 more coats in my closet? Like, but yeah, and I like the decluttering thing it's one of my favorite activities, being somewhat like Monica on Friends. I just love to like clean out and do all of that kind of stuff. It's actually a bit of a problem. I need coaching, Bishop. But yeah, what I do is I even just like I will take like even a section of a room.
Mhm.
So like your office, for example, Tracy, if I was like feeling really stressed, one of the best things is just to say, I'm going to declutter one drawer. I'm just going to open up this
Mhm.
drawer, get rid
Right.
of all the stuff that I don't want, put it in some kind of organization format, whatever. And it just sort of lightens everything and you can move on. But it's amazing that typically when you start something like that, you end up going into the second drawer and the third drawer.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you've done a whole bunch of stuff, and you really do feel good about getting rid of all of that stuff because we just accumulate a lot of things, like stuff gets brought in, it never gets thrown out. And I'm a firm believer that you have to get rid of stuff in order to be able to receive more of
Absolutely.
anything.
Mhm.
And the more you can get rid of, the easier your brain becomes. Like that whole calming down thing is that you're literally decluttering your brain at the same time.
Yep.
Because overwhelm often shows up because we are looking at a whole project like, oh my God, I got to completely declutter this entire closet right now. In the next 2 hours, I can't do it and nothing gets done.
Yeah.
Right. And we stay in that mode. But when we allow ourselves just a moment to go, let's take this one drawer. I'm going to take this one drawer and get rid of the stuff that I don't want in this drawer. It literally just helps calm your mind down and gets rid of the overwhelm because you are accomplishing something. You're taking action. You're doing something for yourself and for the drawer.
And what's unique in my case is, to be very honest, we're not taking our furniture.
Mm.
We're not taking the pieces that we have in this home for most purposes. Where we're moving the cottage up north is fully furnished, and the home we're going to in Florida is fully furnished. With that said, that has forcing me to look at what pieces I do want to bring down
Mhm.
and why do I want to bring them down? What's the purpose for it? Is it because, well, it just reminded me of my grandmother because I have an
Yeah.
old table from her. Okay, why does that table remind you of like, why is that important to me? Like, I keep asking the question why like 5 times, and if I can answer it to where I'm a comfort level, then that piece of furniture is going to Florida with me.
Mhm.
Right now, I don't think I have anything coming with me.
That's good.
It is,
Yeah.
That's
but I have a
good.
lot of furniture to get rid of. And I do, we both, Pete and I, because we both combined households, we are like, I have one son that's coming in April. He's taking what he wants. I have another son coming, taking what he wants, and then we'll sell the rest. But it really is making me understand. Here's a perfect thing. I was in TJ Maxx the other day. I had to return something. And I'm like, oh, I love this sweater. It's so, like you were saying, Tracy E, things multiply. I'm like, it's so, and I'm like, why?
Mhm.
What's the purpose? Michelle, you will have to remove this piece of clothing from your home because you will no longer be in sub-zero weather. Do you need that at this time? And I think we hold on to things because we're dealing with stuff internally. And if we release it,
Mhm.
like, we don't know how to release it. I'm looking at a quilt that was my grandmother's. That will be in Florida. That is huge to me. That, because I can put it on me. It's it's a memory. But I look at things like, well, why do I have it? My walls are pretty bare in the rest of my house because I just bought them to fill the house. That's the only reason why I bought them. I decluttered it. I walk in now and I'm like, wow, it looks kind of bearing around here. Oh, that's okay. That's right. I'm moving. I'm, like, that's okay. That's okay, because my brain doesn't feel, I don't walk in now and say, oh my God, I have to get rid of these pictures and I have to start doing this and I have to start doing that. Every month I declutter another part of my kitchen. I'm decluttering that. If I hadn't used these set of dishes in the 7 year I've been here, or going to wherever I donate my stuff.
I think one of the problems too is you never know. You never know when you might need it. And so you keep on holding on to these things. And that's really good to just keep asking yourself, why? I also inherited a bunch of stuff that I feel not right getting rid of because it was my mother's
Right.
or things like that. And it's like, but
Yeah.
it's not, why do I have this china set that I will never use, but can't get rid of because I feel like it's disrespectful? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I haven't worked through that part, but there's certain things like that that just clutter up the house that I'll save them for my girls.
Have you asked your girls if they want them?
Have I asked them? We've used my oldest daughter has pulled them out once in a while, so she'll probably take them, but they'll sit here till she's well
Right.
on her way. So it's kind of, but I have a lot of that type of stuff is my
Yeah.
point. And they don't want it all.
Yeah, and I can understand that aspect, because Tracy, I also have been the executor.
Yeah.
3 times. And the last one was when my dad passed suddenly. And I literally had a weekend to empty his apartment, because he was in a like a rent controlled apartment. So when someone passes, you have 2 weeks to empty it. And it was in Connecticut. So I had to empty it. And that's what I kept feeling. I had a suitcase I was throwing his important papers in, but everything else I had to throw out.
I was like, when Dave's brother died, we had to clean out the apartment very quickly, just because of the rental contract that that he was under. And I mean, we said, and we had done this multiple times before, but it is just so sad because nobody wants your stuff.
Yeah.
They
No,
don't. Like, nobody wants your stuff. There was a few things that ended up coming home with us because it was something of significance for Dave from his childhood. And even then, it was in the moment of that memory, of that grief, of that just experience that made him take those things, because they're still in a box. They're not out somewhere. They're still in a box. They're not
yes.
they're not anywhere. And we are in the process actually of cleaning out a room where this box exists. And I'm sure the words out of his mouth are going to be, I'm not sure why I kept that. It seemed important at the time,
so funny. My dad passed in December of 2019. And I went to Vermont in October of this year. And right before that, I had torn apart all these papers that I needed, like all these papers. And I didn't need any of them. They were old car insurance, old medical insurance.
Yeah.
Like, I was shredding and doing everything I needed to. And I came down to this whole box, came down to 3 pieces of paper. One was his military ID. One was his DD 214, which is his discharge papers. And one was his enlistment papers. And because my dad was a vet, I have the flag encased with it. And I even looked at that flag, and it was important to me. It was part of his heritage. But I was talking to my daughter-in-law and I said, it's important to me, but what would the meaning be to my son, my youngest son, who is a military vet? And she's like, oh, Michelle. So when I went up there, I handed him those 3 pieces of paper and he was ecstatic. And he had them. And then I brought out the flag encased and he's like, is because they did do the salute. So the gun shells were inside. And he's like, are those in there too? And he's like, yep. And he took it apart and he put those papers in it and he put it back and he put it in a special place. Like that had so much meaning for him.
Yeah.
So I'm holding on to these papers that had no meaning. Those papers were part of my father's past, but they're part of my son's legacy too, because he's also, that son decided to go in the military. So now I have space cleared, that decluttering,
Mhm.
and my son has something that of value that is huge, but out of this huge box, that's all there was.
It's interesting. There's been things that I have held on to, like you, Tracy, simply because they were my mom's. It's not like I use them. It's not like and I actually had a conversation with her, and I sat there and I said, Mom, like I know this was yours. I remember dusting it constantly, Mom, but you never used it. Like, it's okay if I get rid of it. Like, I'm just dusting it too. Like, it doesn't really mean anything to me. So can I chuck it? And I just sat there and it was like, I just felt like, yeah, it's okay to get rid of it. That's not the memory. I've already got the memories. I've already got what's important in here and up here, right? There is no special attachment to that thing. It just happened to be my mom's. It was identified as hers, right? Oh, this is my mom's teapot. She never drank tea in her life.
Right.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so like, what am I holding onto this teapot for? I don't ever drink tea, rarely. I'm a coffee girl. So it's like, okay, Mom, I'm just going to get rid of it. And you know what? There was no guilt. There was no whatever. It was like, I held on to this for I don't know how many years. And I was just like, yeah, it's good to go.
And that's like the same with my sister. I had a piece of clothing. Why do I have a piece of clothing from my sister? It has no bearing. It wasn't some amazing thing that she wore all the time or anything. It was just what in my mind, a piece of her, but
yes,
it
doesn't
help with the memory of her. It's actually probably very neutral because it actually probably clouds like it was like, why do I have this? But now out of respect, it's my dead sister's. I got to keep it. I can't let that go. With my father, there was one thing I took. I was smart. I only took one thing. It was a grandfather sit down clock, and it's in our basement rec room, whatever. And every time I walk in there, I go, "Hey, Dad," and that it's there. One thing. No cluttering or anything. So it's weird. And this is something I'm working on because I really don't want my girls to have this thing where you're attached to things of memories. If they don't mean anything, the flag, of course, but my grandfather's clock, of course, but this piece of clothing.
Right.
The teapot.
The
teapot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was funny because my mom had given me a bunch of jewelry and I couldn't do anything with this jewelry. Like I had my grandmother's engagement ring, my mother's engagement ring, my mother's 50th anniversary, or like a wedding band, this and that. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, I actually brought it somewheres and I had a special ring made.
Nice.
So now when I look down,
yeah,
I have all three of those different types of stones in it. And they melted that metal down, and that's the gold they use to make the ring.
Nice.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
So it was a form of decluttering. It was a form of that, same aspect. But I think at times we need to, and I'm not saying you can't have stuff in your house. I'm not saying you should bring in your house what brings you so much joy in your house that when you walk by it makes you smile. If you walk by it and you feel like, think about removing that from your home or your drawers or your closet or your cabinet or whatever it is. And I like the way, Tracy, you were saying beforehand, I'm a firm believer sometimes, like I had a half hour before here. I will find something to go clean in my house, like if it's a quick vacuum, a quick dust, a quick straightening up, a quick removing of something, that then you're not stuck with that 3 to 4 hours of scrubbing down
Yeah.
the kitchen or scrubbing down something else. Or our time is so precious that we shouldn't be trying to, like, every Saturday you have to spend the whole day. I remember every Saturday we used to spend the whole day cleaning the house. Why? You could take an hour a day and clean one room, and come Saturday you have the day to, like, rethink things is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For
I think
sure.
another part of decluttering too is what was mentioned. Do you need to bring this in your house? So as much as you're taking stuff out, let's really look in whether we need to bring this in.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Totally. So, what are your decluttering tips? Or do you like to hold on to things, and what causes you to hold on to those things? Put it down here in the comments. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and get notified of our next episode. And if there is anything that you would love to ask us that we can bring on here to have a conversation about, please do that. Make sure you do that also in the comments. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.